When we're in this space and then we come together, there's this sacred reciprocity. There's this giving and this sharing, and there's this receiving because we're open to receive because we know we deserve it. But we're also just overflowing of giving. And then there's this really beautiful energy that's created. We can't even quite fathom what kind of things get created out of this space when you get a lot of women coming together in their powers. New ideas get birthed, new pathways get born. This is real power, sparks ignite, and this is how I feel we birth the way forward.
Welcome to the Embodied Woman podcast with me, Rebecca Wilson. An embodied experiential space for you to drop deep into the wealth of wisdom within your being and activate a fuller, richer you. I am a feminine awakener, thought leader, embodied business doula, sacred business midwife, healer, and all-round medicine woman. I am here to guide women deeper into their essence and power, to activate their life force, awaken pleasure, and support them to live an embodied life. I will help you birth your visions, dreams, creations, desires, and sacred business into the world from an easeful, embodied, and rooted place within. My work supports women to become more available for life, love, relationship, connection, creation, pleasure, and wealth. I will activate you into self-leadership and self-mastery to truly live an embodied and awakened life. Welcome on the journey, my love. Hello, gorgeous women. Welcome back to the Embodied Woman podcast. I am joined today by a dear friend and sweet sister. This is Samantha from Birthing in New Earth. And we're here today to talk about the up and coming gathering that we will be joining together in London, The Way Forward, Awakened and Embodied Leadership. And we'll be there in London on the 12th to the 14th of October. But let me welcome Samantha in. Hi, love.
Hey, Rebecca. Oh, so good to be here. I love you. And I love sharing in spaces with you. So it's such an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Me too. We've been connected from the very beginning.
The beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Samantha is the founder of Birthing in New Earth, and we connected on Instagram. How many years do you think
it's been 3 years. So you reached out. I was thinking about it today. You reached out when I was doing my very first online gathering in September 2020.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I vaguely remember. I'm like, gosh, time and all of that. I remember seeing some of your posts or your work, or somehow it just dropped into my field and my awareness. And I was like, oh yeah, this woman knows what she's talking about. Like I'm on the same thread as you here. And
yeah,
at that time, gosh, 3 years ago, it felt like we were very much at that seed of that new beginning of peace. Yeah.
Yes. Because Birthing in New Earth was birthed right after COVID. And I had been like, I think for many of us in that, 3-month lockdown period was a deep journey for me and for many people that I spoke to. I went through a very deep healing and a deep awakening. And then when I emerged out of the cocoon, the seed, with the help of a mentor I had at that time, was planted. And then I've never done anything like this, but it just it was like the universal push behind me was pushing me forward to do. And so then from there, it was, 4 gatherings online. I think you've been part of most of them. And then, which is really exciting, is that we're doing our first live one. So it was like a deep calling that I was like, okay, online's great, but we need to be in person. We need to come together and hold each other and be with each other.
Yeah. And we've been connected for so long now, but that will be the first time we actually meet in person. It's going to be
I
so
know.
special.
It is like so many of you that I've been connecting with, ladies, throughout the last 3 years. I've never met, but I feel like such deep connection and deep friendship. It's like, definitely like we've known each other for a very long, long time.
Yeah.
Many lifetimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's been this really beautiful thread of support woven in. And that's what I
Yeah.
really loved about everything you've been creating. It really has come from this place of like the together and the all of us, and not alone and not individual and not I, but rather we, and this collective experience of like, we gather as women, all as leaders, as conscious feminine leaders, women in healing, in coaching, whatever our modalities are. And for many of us, the same. We're in similar expressions of creation and work, but that doesn't get separated or divided. You've really cultivated this space of really gathering together so that we can have these profound conversations and share. And I know throughout the years, there's been many moments for us where we've been connecting around work and how things have changed and shifted for us and what's happening for you now, and I'm going in this direction, and so there's been so many little and big births throughout this journey too, and that's what I think is so special about the message that you have been consistently sharing through your offerings and the gatherings over all this time. And that's that piece around us, like finally being able to come together and be together in person, is just going to be so magical.
Yeah. Thank you. Because this is, what really is very clear for me is I feel that for many of us, and I know for myself individually, like that I've been on my own healing path, and for many of us have been on our own journeys of healing, but then also doing business. And it's kind of like this more individual, but I feel the way forward is coming together, is supporting each other, that this is this more feminine approach. It's like, how do we bring more a feminine essence into how we do business, into how we lead at this time? And it's not hierarchical. It's not doing it by ourselves, because then we end up isolated. And for myself, I know, like burnt out. And so it is like, how can we start cultivating and bringing in different ways where we can find ways to support each other? And the way I see it, like what's really important at this time is, and why it's important to gather in different ways. Of course, online has a space, but then also coming together in person is that we all have this little piece to play at this time, and we all have a common vision. So whether it's you're doing your piece and your medicine that you're sharing, and the other women, we have women that are coming with sharing about Akashic records. We have women coming to doing vocal activation, cacao ceremonies, womb healing, talking about pleasure, all these different aspects. That's the medicine that's coming through them and their purpose and their piece. But we all have that common vision. And so when we come together with that common intention, there's real power. And this is when we can, I think, shift into the next level. I don't know I always see it as like a spiral up, we're on the next rung. There's real power, and that our messages get amplified when there is this collective feel, this collaboration. I think that's the big word that I keep feeling, is that it's time to collaborate. It's time, how can I help you and you can help me and we can help each other? Because like these old ways of comparison and competition and scarcity, that's like the old way kind of melting away. And the new way is, how do we uplift each other together? Like we're all just walking each other together.
Yeah, beautiful. I can see it. And that it's like we're just stood in a circle, and we've often spoken about that piece of like, we're all connected from such different parts of the world, covering all corners of the world. And through that COVID time, we really like gave thanks to the internet and being able to gather online and be together and share visions and ideas and support each other through through leadership at that time was such a unique time in business and in service, wherever we are within our journey of creating, holding space. It was such an interesting and unique time. And there
Mm.
was this piece of like, we're all separated at home, alone in a lockdown, but also so deeply connected and united through the online portals that we've created, and, you know, the online gatherings that you've created that I've been so blessed to be a part of, and connected through that with so many women from all over the world. And so this foundational piece has really started to form. And then when you shared with me, like, there's going to be an in-person live gathering, I was like, yes, it feels like now is the time.
Now is the time. Yeah, I really feel that. I feel that. And I think something that came through as you were speaking, because I think during that COVID time, we had, these awakenings, these new ideas come through. And because there was like slight isolation, and even in the community or the place that I live, I might not be able to speak to my the community like I can speak to you. So it's like finding these women that were like, oh my God, you get me. Like, you get these ideas that I've been dropping in, you understand that was really, I think, beautiful. And, like you said, when we would drop in and be like, oh, I'm moving through this and I'm moving through this, and we'd be moving through like similar things at the same time. And it's really funny.
Yeah. There was
every time we chat.
Yeah, a shared, like, oh no, me too. Yeah, you too. Oh, here we are. And that support that's been cultivated, and that really is that the way forward is a new way forward. And it's this way, it's the together piece, it's the collective piece. And it's really, as women, I think for me, like the message of like really coming home to ourselves, into our full power. Mm-hmm. So in our business, in our leadership, and however that manifests, you don't have to be in business to be in leadership. Being a mother is being a leader.
Yes.
Being just a woman in your own life, you're the leader of your own life. And that what's really been anchoring in for me is like this piece around like responsibility and power, self-power, self-responsibility, sovereignty into the self, and how deeply responsible we are for ourselves in relationship to life and others also. So there's this piece where like the two exist. So the individual self exists in connection and relationship to the community and the group. And for me, I've really been feeling into like, where is my place of responsibility in how I'm showing up in service to myself, and also in service to my community and the women that are in my world and that I support. And the piece for me at the moment is really about this resourcing. So I'm so responsible for resourcing and nourishing myself as I hold space for other women, as I hold space for my family, as I hold space for my partner and my stepson. It's really important, and for me, and it's my responsibility to ensure that I'm resourced in that, so that I'm not arriving into those connections and relationships from a place of depletion or undernourishment or kind of frazzled and fraught energy. And that for me is like that true essence of embodied leadership. What also cannot exist there, which is a really beautiful dance to come into, is like, well, what can't exist there is the martyr or the victim or the child. There's this real piece of maturing into this embodied womanhood, and therefore leadership in whatever way that manifests for each individual woman. And I've been speaking a lot as well about like, this is the journey of becoming really sober with the reality of our existence, and not drunk in the fantasy of I guess like the maiden. I was thinking and feeling into yesterday that like, maturing through the maiden and into the mother archetype, and whether that's a mother of a life, a mother of a business, remothering yourself. We as women go through these natural transitions and rites of passage. And like the maiden is drunk in love and drunk in fantasy. And that is part of the essence of that time and that chapter. But there is a time to mature through it and to become like stone cold sober in the reality of our existence. And there is where responsibility lives. And obviously responsibility feels not so good for the inner child or the maiden who just wants to be free. But it feels great when we're in that embodied mother frequency, mothering our work,
Yeah.
creations, our business, our children, ourselves, because it's like, right, well, that is actually where power exists. This, power is such a loaded word, but actually true self-power exists in the radical responsibility of the self.
Yeah. Yeah. What was, I was so much, it's like so many beautiful points you made. But as you were saying that, it's like it's like this deep anchoring. It's like this really rooted and it's not solid, but it's like strong. And it's such a good feeling. Like, it's like we're not floating around anymore. It's this real anchor power. And this is what's needed. Like this is what's needed on the planet right now. And this is what feminine leadership is and I love how you said, and I say this a lot because obviously I'm hosting a retreat about leadership, and leadership doesn't mean like you're leading a movement or running a business or in a company, whatever the old ways that we think leadership is. Leadership is actually, like you said, taking full responsibility and authentically showing up as yourself. Like that's leadership at this time. And I think, so many women think that they have to show up in certain ways to be a leader, but no, by showing up and being yourself and taking care of yourself and radical responsibility, as you said, it's the way forward. And then just by doing that, like that gives others permission. Like you don't even have to say anything. Your essence speaks it. Your energy reverberates it out into the collective. And that's powerful. Like this is sending the waves out and helping in whatever way it helps. So like shifting the collective, that's what I want to say. That's creating the new paradigm. And then when we are awakened to that truth of who we are, and then we embody it fully, as you said, and anchor it in, then when we come together as women, like that, like that's why I feel like you said earlier, I just feel like it's time to gather in person. And I was like, yes, this is what I've been feeling, because I just feel like we've taken on that next level of embodiment and we really feel it deeply. And so then when we come together, like we're really strong in ourselves. So not, like you said, we're not frazzled or depleted, because then what happens, we're looking for external things to fill us. So it's kind of like this old toxic, even like I don't want to say masculine, but then we're in this more taking or in that. And then when we're in this space and then we come together, there's like this sacred reciprocity, like there's this giving and this sharing and there's this receiving, because we're open to receive because we know we deserve it, but we're also just like overflowing of giving. And then there's this really beautiful energy that's created. And this, when we come together, is like, whoa, these are how, like, it's like, I've been thinking about this a lot. Like we can't even quite fathom what kind of things get created out of this space when you get a lot of women coming together in their power. It's like new ideas get birthed, like new pathways get born. Like this real power sparks a night. And this is how I feel we birth the way forward. Like, because we don't quite fully understand or kind of know. We have a felt sense of where we're going, or what new earth or what we're birthing in, but it's going to be an unfolding. And this is how, like, when the meeting of the hearts, meeting of the wombs come together, then it's like, whoa, this is potent. This is how I think.
Yeah, yes to all of that. And it's just so powerful. And I've witnessed it so many times on retreats that I've held, which is a smaller kind of gathering than the one that we'll be sharing together in London in October. But the power of women just being in space together, listening to each other's stories, sharing, talking, dancing together, sitting around the kitchen table together, all different things that are manifest in these spaces. Yeah. And somehow feeds us in a way that we've forgotten that we need to be fed. It nourishes us in a way that we didn't even realize we depleted from. Yeah. And that then, I see it in these smaller snippets with, a smaller gathering of women, and what happens to their lives after they step out of spaces like this. They're changed forever. They're birthing new ideas. They're having children. They're moving houses. They're, learning how to grow their own food and take more responsibility for themselves. They're learning how to nourish themselves in different ways. They're learning how to, regulate themselves in a way that's more supportive and sustainable for their family life. I mean, just so many ripples happen.
Yeah.
And for years upon years after, I keep in touch with many of the women that have been on retreats, and I'm like, wow, there they are now. They spoke about that 5 years ago on that retreat, and now they've done that. They've birthed the project. They've got the new job. They've moved country. They're living out their dream. And often women will say, I just felt so fueled by that. The women that I was with that listened to me, that said, yes, your dream is so available for you. Go for it.
Yeah.
We're supporting you. And also all of the women that held them accountable, when they've shared an idea or a vision in a space, and then it's like, oh, well, maybe, next lifetime. But no, this group of women heard me, and I am going to stay true to myself and my commitment to this. And all of that just drives us and moves us in ways that I think we don't really realize how much we need it to.
Yeah. It's like it's like this remembering of how things can really be. It's like this long lost, forgotten that this is how we used to be. We came together as women and men, we come together, it was just this connection, deep feeling. And it was like this sense of safety that was felt, that could be felt in our nervous system, so I imagine that's what's happening when women come together in your retreats. They find this safety, they find this deep nourishment. Then it's like this like release of kind of that little bit of I don't know how to say, whatever pattern or the nervous system trauma, or it releases, it softens a bit. And then that's when these new ideas can be birthed and these new ways can come in, because we kind of just let that we come down a little bit. I just did this really funny motion.
The embodied expression of that. Yeah. And it's the support piece as well, I think, just to recognize, for so many women, they've not felt supported by other women.
Supported, yeah.
Or by their mother, or by women in the collective, or the sisterhood wound. And there's this kind of sense of, oh, I'm not supported in being who I want to be, or I can't do this and can't do that. And when there's a group of women there who are all like, you can, we believe in you, it ignites something like a fire in the belly, which is just so, so powerful. So share with us a little bit deeper what is going to be on offer. I know there's like Akashic records, cacao ceremonies. I'll be there facilitating a resourced awakening through the body for women who are traversing the path of womanhood, motherhood, leadership, creation. We all need resource in our body. Healing, talks on
so much actually. So we have it's over 3 days. We start off on the Thursday afternoon, and there's going to be, I think, on that day there'll be a talk on leadership, about nourishment. There'll be opening ceremony. The next day we have, I think, there's so much leadership, pleasure and leadership. There's going to be like Akashic Records meditation. There's going to be this really beautiful sound healing that's coming through. We're going to have this beautiful singer coming in. There's going to be a networking event. We have this woman she's called the Visibility Goddess. So she's going to come in and show us different ways that hold us back from showing up in our businesses and our life. There's going to be a woman who's going to come and talk about queen archetypes and human design and how we can use that, and so much more. There's going to be daily yoga. We have another venue where we're going to be running yoga events and some side workshops. There's going to be some amazing sponsors that are coming in and sharing like beautiful food. And we have these women that are going to come in and do these kinesiology test-free workshops for us. And then we have the closing ceremony, and that's going to be an ecstatic dance, medicine dance, and a cacao ceremony. There's so much more. I'm like trying to run through everything in my head.
Just so full, so abundant, really a place abundant, where we're able to deeply receive. And, I can feel it now, like, the village, the women gathering, returning, sharing our sacred arts and medicines and practices. And just so nourishing, like I say, beyond the place that we possibly even realized that we need it.
Yeah. And it's in such a beautiful space, and there's this beautiful garden that you can walk in and integrate all the information and healing that's coming through. There'll be opportunities to take on one-on-one sessions with some of the speakers, and there's going to be beautiful lunch catered. And
beautiful. So 12th to the 14th of October. And we have a gift for our listeners as well, for all the women listening here on this podcast.
Yes. For anyone listening today, you're going to get a coupon code and discount code for $111 off the ticket price. So that will be in the show notes. And you can also message Rebecca about that. And so,
Yeah, amazing. So the code for that and the link to book your tickets will be in the show notes of this episode. So all you need to do is scroll down, click, and all of the information will be there. But as Samantha shared, my Instagram is always open if anyone has any questions. And we'll also link the Birthing in New Earth Instagram page, so you can head over to there, get a good feel of everything that's happening. I'll pop your website there too, so everyone can really explore the depths of this beautiful creation that you have curated and birthed into the world.
Thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I'm so excited to be with you, and and it really it's a co-creation. I think that's a really important piece to go into. I'm hosting it, but then you have the beautiful speakers, but then the participants. So it's all a co-creation, and this is what's really beautiful about this space, and what I feel so powerful about it, because we each have, that magic to bring into the space, and that's what I feel so beautiful.
Gorgeous. Well, I'm super excited to see you then.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you, everyone, for listening in, and I hope to see you in October. Yay. Much love, everyone.
Thank you so much for being here, my love. And thank you all for listening. As all the details, as we shared, are in the show notes. And we look forward to gathering with you to traverse the path of the way forward. Sending so much love.
Yes. Much love. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining me on this journey today. If you loved this musing and sharing, I would love for you to share this episode far and wide. You can arrive into all of my offerings at rebecca-wilson.com. Links to dive deeper with me are in the episode notes. Remember, my love, you are here to be the fullest, most potent, powerful, embodied version of you. I am here to guide you into that. Hey love, I'm dropping in here to welcome you to join us in our online community membership, The Village. I created this space for women to gather, to return to themselves, to deepen the connection and the relationship with self, whilst held in a community of like-minded women walking the journey and the path of their own awakening.